Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second webinar for February. Today, I have with me Ryan from Libya, who will be presenting and giving you all information regarding a facilitation guide. Ryan is currently serving in San Francisco. So thank you, Ryan, for taking our time to do this for all of us fellows. And I'm just going to head over to Ryan and ask her to introduce herself and tell us a little bit about the presentation. Thank you.
Right. So, hello everyone. My name is Rayan Abuamer. I'm from class 26. I'm serving with Impact Experience in California, San Francisco. We are working with marginalized communities, so we are connecting marginalized communities and local entrepreneurs with other investors to co-create solutions to help different local issues. So, and my previous work with ABA, or the American Bar Association Role of Knowing Initiative, included holding many community dialogue sessions across Libya to promote for national dialogue. And this is how I learned my facilitation skills. And I believe that many of you are actually doing similar job by planning events or holding events and facilitating, and you probably have a good facilitation skills, but it won't hurt to know more. So today I will share with you some tips or facilitation tasks, skills that I designed. Okay, there we go. All right. So, facilitation guide. The objective of today is to enable the fellows or enable you to conduct a dialogue session and in whatsoever the topic. I mean, these skills does not follow or put a frame to a certain topic. It could be anything, it could be any topic, and develop your facilitation skills and ensure that you could hold or implement a successful I just received a message from Sarah confirming that the webinar is working well. So ensure that you hold a successful session and you get the desired impact from this session. All right, so what is facilitation? So the facilitation in general is a method or a way to discuss a topic or generate ideas and motivate others to take the initiative or take the ownership of their ideas and start a dialogue without imposing or forcing any of your own views or ideas. So the facilitator's job, in fact, is to make the group member responsible for their own discussion and agrees on certain issue or certain points. All right, so basic facilitator tasks. Okay, these are the main facilitator tasks are: number one, for example, identify when you hold a dialogue session or when you start your event. Number one, you need to identify the objectives of your session. What are the objectives of your session, and why the needs. What are the needs for this session? And the more you are clear about your needs of holding this session, the easier for you to design the perfect activities to implement this session and get the desired outcomes. Okay, so as a facilitator, you always need to be careful that your audience do not get out of control. It always happened, even during the GLL, that some people start asking questions and switch the conversation from being very general to being very one person oriented and one idea. And the facilitator should make sure that this never happens. Okay, make the discussion, make the decisions that reflect all the views and the opinions, not only one person's opinion. Facilitators should, even if one person suggests something, usually the facilitator ask the rest of the class or the audience if they are agreeing with this point, or repeat it and see everyone else's reaction or feedback about it. Facilitators should have great way of communicating effectively and always should give feedback after hearing ideas from his audience. All right, how to be a great facilitator? So yes, number one, you always need to know the main purpose of this session you are holding or the event you are holding. To be a great facilitator. Two, you need to inspire your audience or the participants to talk and be involved in the event with you. Three is the facilitator always need to be joyful. We No one likes a boring facilitator. Otherwise, it's gonna be like a university lecture, someone who's standing and reading from the charts or reading from the presentation, and this is boring. Um, you always need to find techniques, ways, or ways to put examples, join funny examples to catch your audience attention and create creative activities or techniques to make sure that all the participants are involved. All right, awesome. So public speaking. Public speaking is one of the scariest thing, especially for me. I mean, I get nervous. It's public speaking, especially if I'm gonna tell a story or like emotions or something. So it's a little bit hard. But what could help you in public speaking is training or training or rehearsing. So what I could suggest is you could rehearsal at home in front of the mirror. This is what I usually do. I go to my bedroom and I start rehearsing in front of the mirror. Or you could ask someone to record for you during the facilitation, and then you could evaluate your performance during the facilitation and improve it. All right, so implementing facilitation skills. So when you want, okay, let's say that this is the first day of the event, it's 9 a.m., and the participants start arriving. What the facilitator should do? A great facilitator should go. I mean, it's different in the GLL because we are like over the 90%, so it's hard. But usually, if there is a registration and you are in the registration table or near the registration table, the facilitator should go warmly welcome everyone, shake hands. For example, I come and shake hands with you and say, "Good morning. My name is Rayan Abuamer, and I'm the facilitator today. Great to see you. Thank you for coming today." And for example, you just give a chance for the person to say back his name and let him go or let her go and go to the other person because you have a long list. All right. So, as I said, you need to introduce yourself. Then let's say it's 9:30 and the session started. You always need to start the session with ice breaking activity, just to break the ice between everyone else and make sure that everyone is more comfortable about each other. All right, share the agenda, and of course share the agenda about for the day, and share the objectives of the session. And one of my favorite parts is creating the norms or the rules of the session. I usually start with one of them, then let the participants take the ownership of suggesting other norms, so they be responsible for these norms. For example, not texting, not taking a phone call, one mic, which is one person to speak at a time, respect each other's opinion, etc. All right. As a facilitator, you always need to ask the right questions during your session to motivate and tease your participants to start answering or giving more ideas or suggesting or different saying different opinion. All right, so please avoid giving a lecture, or even if you have a PowerPoint in front of you, try to limitize the text in the PowerPoint you have or your presentation, and try to be as active in the whole as possible. All right, and always try to, after each point, to reach agreement with everyone, and everyone is on the same page. All right, time management. There are many ways for the facilitator to manage their time, but on a personal experience, these are the ways that worked with me during facilitating my facilitating experience. So number one, you need always to have a watch. It's up to you if you want to have your own watch, although I don't really recommend it. I usually suggest to have a watch in the wall that you could look at it without actually letting everyone notice that you are looking at the time. Have a close copy of the agenda or the certain materials that you need or notes near you. No, we don't. You don't want to look um, distracted during the session and thinking what is next in the agenda. Put a time limit during the session, and you could ask some of the participants to help you with this. Ask someone or your partner in the event to set up 10 minutes, for example, dialogue or discussion on this topic. Then after this 10 minutes over, then everyone else needs to share their opinion or their outcomes. So parking lot. Parking lot, I found this method is very effective because it always happened that we find one person or two person that they start uh, a conversation or topic that it's out of irrelevant to the topic we are discussing now, but everyone else is interested to talk about it, and the only way that you could encourage them to stop and focus on the main topic that they are discussing, is the parking lot way, which is you write down the topic that they want to discuss and and make sure that you tell them, hey guys, if let's focus on this topic now, and I will write the other topic in this parking lot, and then if we have more time later, we could definitely get back to it and we discuss it at the end of our session. All right, so now we jump to principles to be followed by the facilitator. These are the main and most important principles for the facilitator to to follow. Otherwise, he won't or she won't be a good facilitator. She will end up being a participant. Number one, the facilitator always need to be justice with everyone. Treat everyone equally. Give equal chances for everyone to participate, to say their right, to speak up their voice. Neutrality, independence, uh, independence. Be patient. The facilitator. It's one of the most important and the hardest thing for the facilitator is to be patient, because I know, especially if you have a number of participants and everyone start saying their opinion and everyone wants to share their opinion, it's hard to control them, and it's hard to make sure that you stay in the topic in the same path and not go out. But as a good facilitator, I believe you could do it, everyone. All right, commitment, tact, and confidentiality. I think confidentiality, you could put it as even one of the norms at the beginning, that it's like what happened in the class stays in the class. If it happens that some people start sharing their personal opinion and they don't like their opinions to be shared outside the room. So it would be great if you clarify this at the beginning of the session, and also the facilitator should always keep the confidentiality of the things that he hears or the stories he or she hears during the session. All right, communicating skills. So there is this research that shows that during your communicating as a facilitator, there's different percentages for the participants to listen to you or actually g- get their attention. So 7% of the attention or how the participant receive the words receive the information you are saying is by the spoken word. So you saying it, it's only 7%. This is like the professor, and these are like the lectures we are attending at the university. Only receiving, he is only getting 7% of my attention. All right, the way you say it, your body language. Sorry, the way you say it, which is how you put it in the story, how you bring a different example. It gets 38%, and your facial expression or your body language, you will get 55% of their attention. So, as we see, being facilitators does not depend on the material only. You really need to focus on many things: your way, your body language, the examples you put, the way you put them, and your voice. All right, so nonverbal communicating. So the facilitator needs to always keep a good eye contact when, for example, one of the participating talking to him and sharing his opinion. You always, out of respect, you need to give a good eye contact with him. Facial, if during when the participating is talking, always make sure that your facial expression follows the story that your participant is telling. And if it happened that this participant is sharing something that you disagree on, or it's not right, or the wrong information, or whatever, try to hide this facial expression and not let them know that you disagree with them. You always need to move around, more around. Sorry, or you need to move closer to the person who's speaking, so everyone else in the class or in the hall follows you and focus their attention on the side of the speaker at the moment. All right, quality of your voice tone. So it's very important for the facilitator to have different voice tones during his or her performing. For example, if you want to make sure that everyone is under control and they don't go out of the topic, you need to have a different voice tone than when you are, for example, doing the ice breaking or saying a joke or saying a funny story. So, but you always need to make sure that your voice tone makes you presented there, like grabs everyone else's attention during the session. All right. So, effective questions technique. So, when when responding to questions, keep these tips in mind. Right. Be aware that your body language. I mean, when you are responding to different questions, you need to focus on your body language. We mentioned this earlier. Address the whole class. For example, if someone asked you, you need, after giving eye contact and getting closer to this person, when you want to answer this question, you don't answer this question one to one. You answer this question as you answering the whole class. So the whole class or the whole or all the attendees or participants feel involved in this question. Don't say the phrase of "good question." I noticed that many people are using it. Many facilitators are using it, even in high profile sessions. If someone asks them and they say, "Oh, this is a good question," but this is, I mean, I'm sorry, this is not. It's not okay. On a personal level, I don't think it's right, and also on like no, how can I say it? I mean, it's like on professional level, it's not right, because when you say, oh, that's a good question, it's like saying, the other questions were not good enough, and you will make the other participants be like, so what's your standard for good question? Why that question was good question and mine wasn't, for example. So what you could say, I mean, this is a suggestion. What you could say is, oh, thank you for reminding me about this. Oh, I was just thinking about it, and you just brought it up, and it's an important point that I was thinking of raising, for example. All right. So you always need to repeat, not always, but always make sure that the whole class has heard the question. And so you could do that by repeating the question of the participant and make sure that you grab the class's attention before you start answering the question. Right. Incorrect response. Incorrect responses. It always happen that when the participant makes an incorrect statement or an offer incorrect answer, so the way that you can handle the situation, uh, that the participant keep you could help the participant to keep thinking about it, and or help the participant to come to the right conclusion. And you could start, I mean, these are some examples. You could say, for example, okay, good, now let's take it a step further, for example, and maybe you could give him or her key points, so she switch her path, or she or he switch their answer, their opinion. Right. Responding when you don't know the answer. Oh, guys. I mean, of course, we don't know all the answers. And of course, we will receive questions about things that are not relative, or maybe things that are relevant to the topic, but we don't know the answers. So don't try to make up the answer at the moment. Just say, oh, that was great question that I didn't came up to my mind. You could use that phrase at that moment, and let the participants know that you will do a research and get back to them with the answer. Please, again, don't make up the answer, because you never know, maybe someone else is attending and it knows the correct answer in you, and the answer you made up wasn't correct. So you will be in trouble, and you don't want this to happen to you during the session. All right. All right. Last but not least, the method of engaging the participants. All right. So as a facilitator, you always need to mix up your facilitation technique. For example, if it was me today holding this facilitation skills session, I wouldn't be lecturing it like right now. I would have start having different exercises. For example, splitting you two groups and ask each group to write 5 top facilitate best facilitation skills, or the top 5 skills that the facilitator should do, or the top 5 things that the facilitator should be doing when the event starts. So I let different groups start competing, writing different skills, sharing it together to each other. Then, for example, I let uh, 2 people rehearsal or perform that one of them is a stubborn participant and the other is a good facilitator, and how the facilitator could respond and make sure that this person stays in control during the session. So these are, for example, different techniques. Move around the room. You never stay in one point for too long. You always need to make sure that you're engaging everyone else, and by moving, you will grab everyone's opinion. Keep the important information. You always need to make sure that the important information is, for example, written or mentioned in, for example, the charts, and highlighted for everyone. and always repeat it during the session. And if someone's happened that mentioned the good and important information, make sure that you repeat it in an effective way that you grab everyone's attention to this point. All right, and you could, one of the techniques, small group dialogue. Yeah, small group dialogue is always helpful because it makes sure that everyone is get challenging and participate in the group dialogue. All right. Thank you so much for listening to my webinar today. I enjoyed doing it and I hope you enjoyed too. Please let me know if you have any questions. You can email me on nani.abamer@atlascorp.com and hope to see you soon. Take care.